we go again.
This Kennedy, my brother from another mother.
What's good, bro?
Hey man, you all like BK'd out with your Robinson get up on over here, bro. What
Hey,
we
man.
talking about?
Happy Jackie Robinson Day, bro. What was it?
Okay.
How many years is it since he did with this Jackie Robinson Day? April 15th.
Like 45 years or something like that.
I got now you're gonna have me looking it up. But yeah,
We
it's
thought,
Jackie
listen, I
Robinson
thought
Day.
that's something that you'd be prepared for, seeing that you got the whole fit on, bro.
Well, if you knew what it took to even get here today, on getting here on time. But yeah, so
Hey,
back in 1947, Jackie Robinson made his MLB debut for the Brooklyn Dodgers. So yeah, and so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody's wearing 42 today. So yeah, had to pull out my Jackie Robinson on them boys.
Now, how far do you go with the Jackie Robinson? Because I just want to know. I think I know where you went with it. For the peoples who might not know you as well as I do,
What you mean?
you got hat, jersey.
Uh-huh.
What the kicks looking like?
Oh no, I ain't pulled the kicks out. I got the so what I would wear is the New Balance. I got the New Balance that look like they almost look like dunks, right?
Yeah.
Now you're gonna make me have to get them just so I can show you.
You got to show me. You got to let me see them though, bro. Because I thought for sure, just knowing you the way that I know you wouldn't have stopped at just the shirt and the hat. It got to be something more. You got to coordinate that thing even more. I know you. I knew that. There we go. Okay. So I knew that you would have went there. I knew you wasn't going all white Air Force One. You ain't going all black Air Force One. Nothing. I knew it was gonna be that.
Yeah. Had to do this like it just coordinates with it. You know what I'm saying? Just and then I got the reverse of this jersey. I got the blue one too. So yeah.
I thought you would have had the Jackie Rob dunks.
Nah, I don't have them. Yeah, but I
Yeah,
love this. I love the
cinematic
jersey
got
though.
them and they fired
It's
up.
got everything on it. You know what I'm saying? It's everything stitched out on that thing, bro.
It's
Yeah.
fire. It's fire. It's fire, bro. Yeah. Let's get the music going, man.
All right, let's get it. We got a lot to get into.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Brotherz podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Brotherz podcast, the greatest podcast.
If you smell what the rock. It doesn't matter what your name is.
Hey, listen. I got to put this for my content here. By the way, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube and Facebook pages and our new TikTok page. We are live on both platforms at the same time. You click on the notification, you click on the bell, you get the heads up whenever your boys and Miss doing a thing. Ace Kennedy. Listen, man. Just did you see this? I don't know if this is it's a thing that I can appreciate that it never is gonna go away. But did you see Ja Rule recently join the Breakfast Club, and it just solidified and confirmed that his beef with 50 Cent is for life.
I mean, it kind of has to, but it's just like, do we really need this beef anymore? Because it's like we getting older, bro. Like,
I like it. I know we don't need it, but this is the thing about it. It hasn't gotten out of pocket to where it's gotten violent since the time that it did get it. And so for that reason, I don't mind it. Like I don't like usually you think, oh yeah, we are getting older. But in the spirit of hip hop, I don't mind if you had that level of beef that is spilled outside of just music before. I don't mind it being forever beef though, bro. Like I don't mind. It seems like they'll never actually cross paths in real life. So on site could be on site still for them, but it just seemed like on site might not never happen though. So I
Yeah.
like it though, man.
I mean, but it's like the where Ja Rule took it now though is dangerous because 50 is petty. Like we was talking about last week, we was talking about some zodiac signs. 50 is a Cancer, and so his level of petty is petty, and now you trying to embarrass him by pulling out paperwork on stuff. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is that you already know the type of petty 50 be on. Like 50 bought tickets to Ja Rule's concert just so there was nobody there. And yes, the money goes, whatever. But the point was you performing in front of you thinking you about to go out here to an arena because you see the ticket sales, and then you get out there and ain't but 20 people there. It's wild. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of petty 50 be on, bro.
I get it, but here's my thing. I think that so Ja Rule had recently posted some paperwork where it lists 50 Cent as an informant, a police informant on there, right?
Mm-hmm.
My thing is that, bro, you like 20 years too late with that, though, right? Like, if you would have did this during the origins of your beef, I would be like, whoa, okay, now we talking because in the essence of hip hop, nobody wants to be called a rat, right? It's one of the worst things that you can actually do, at least from our era, right? People who live under those codes. I don't think that that code applies as tough these days, right? But
It
I
still
think
does. I
that
mean, obviously, that's not true because we saw the aftermath of what happened with the Young Thug trial and oh boy. So I think it does
did we
still
really?
hold
Oh, wait. Did we really? Because Gunna is still thriving and is probably as popular than any other time of his career.
to the YNs, yes. But I'm talking about
Yeah.
what I'm saying is the YNs wasn't commenting on it, but we were. You know what I'm saying? And
But he didn't lose. He didn't lose a single fan. I don't think. If anything,
I,
he gained more fans.
no, I don't think he lost any fans. But it's not the. But what I'm saying, I don't think anybody really loses fans though. It's the people with like us. When I'm saying the Joe Buttons of the world, the Breakfast Clubs of the world, the people that have the weight on the discussion piece of it. Those are the people where the weight came because those were the people discussing it. But the YNs wasn't discussing it at all. They ain't care. And then
Maybe.
people was tripping on what Young Thug was saying about it. So that was the thing. That was the topic of conversation.
I think this is where I'm at with it though, right? I think that even still, I don't think that Gunna's music isn't necessarily, I think, isn't his targeted audience isn't a bunch of 40 to 45-year-old men, right? And
Nah.
maybe and maybe let's say if that's not even the case. But what I'm saying is that from the core people who he would say, this is my target audience, and these are the people who are my fans. I think if anything, Gunna has never been more popular now. And listen, I'm not gonna lie. I think that while I wasn't necessarily checking for his music like that before, it
Mhm.
did boost his profile. And now he's back. What does he have to say? And to be quite honest, I've listened to his projects since then just because of that. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, he makes pretty good music. I can understand why if you like that sound, that genre of hip hop, I can totally see why. It isn't like
Okay.
Playboy Cardi.
Yeah, I tried to listen to that, bro.
Mm,
I couldn't get past the
listen,
first song, bro. I couldn't
listen. I tried.
listen. It wasn't even the first song. I couldn't get past the first 20 seconds, bro. Like I didn't even like the mix of the vocals. It was, I mean, and I know that was probably the intent of that particular song, but and then I was
Sure.
looking, I didn't even see what song he had that featured Kendrick because it didn't have the features listed out on it. So
Yeah.
I I just was like, I'll figure that out later.
I told you, man. It's like that was one of them ones where I was like, Kanye, you mean to tell me this the album that you want to tweet and go nuclear on
It's
this
because
one? Because
it's because it had clout. He
yeah,
loves
that's all
attention.
it was.
Yeah, it was
I
attention piece. Now we said that we aren't the targeted audience for Gunner, but 50 is our target audience.
Yes. I don't think that it would matter if this doesn't hold the same weight now that I think it would have held 20 years ago. Right?
Okay.
Not nearly the same weight. So you dropping it now looks like, oh man, he already did. Let people tell it. He already killed your career. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the better artist? Just purely music. Who is the better artist? 50 Cent or Ja Rule?
That's a very, very hard question because there's caveats. Because the thing is that Ja Rule fit into this box, but he also sounded like DMX, and he also kind of favored DMX. Uh, the raspy voice, the bald head. That's what I'm saying. I'm just purely talking about that. They were different genre because definitely Ja Rule was more pop than he was rapper. Um,
You think pop?
no. I'm saying his hits, bro. The songs that
Pop?
yes, what I'm saying, like to me, right? DMX was hard, right? Ja Rule never was like the hits, right? Reminds me of almost the category that Flow Rider would be in. So you wouldn't put Flow Rider in the same category that you would uh T.I. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think DMX fit more with the Tupac T.I. camp than it would be with Flow Rider. That's the way that's so what I'm saying is I know Ja Rule had those records being on Murder Inc. I get it. But the hits, the ones we know about, the songs with Ashanti, we know about the songs with J Lo, we know about those were the ones that was popping.
Let me ask you again. Who is the better artist? 50 Cent or Ja Rule?
I don't have to say Ja Rule.
Listen, bro. I've always maintained that Ja Rule is very underrated in the grand scheme of hip hop. I
Yeah.
think he's very underrated because here's my thing, right? What I appreciate about Ja Rule, see, when you say the pop, I think that it isn't pop. I think it's more melodic. He was one of them ones that was doing the singing on his joints, though, right? And then not that Nelly necessarily copied it, but then you had other artists who did melodic style rap. But what I think is still crazy is that even 50 Cent sung on a lot of his best records to me. 50 did a lot of singing on them, though, right? Did the same thing that I think that he accused Ja and tried to clown Ja Rule of. And so I think that to me, it's like, I think that 50 Cent had the better all time album with Get Rich. It's still, to me, Get Rich is probably a top 5 to me all time hip hop album, right? And it's probably the number one, if you want to say the number one debut hip hop album ever. Maybe DMX, right? But I think that 50 Cent is definitely, Get Rich is definitely a top 5. But I think that I can't, the same way how we talk about Drake and we talk about, well, at some point, the hits are the hits. Like the accolades have to mean something. They got to stay, they got to hold some kind of weight. And I think that Ja Rule has the hits. And I can't ignore that if you really want to count them out, right? I think that Ja Rule has more hit records, hit songs than 50. And you can categorize them for street, melodic, if you want to say R&B, whatever you want to say. I just know that the boy got hits, and I can't ignore his impact. Now, 50's impact on hip hop is just a different kind, and it might be even a bigger impact. But
It
if we're
was a
talking
bigger
about
impact.
just artistry, though, if we're just talking about who's the better artist, not the most popular artist, I agree with you. I want to say Ja Rule. I'm gonna go with Ja Rule, but that's with respect to Get Rich, especially though, bro, and 50 Cent and all the 50 records. Like,
Yeah, but
man,
then, but that's the thing though. You just said it though, right? Most people attribute Ja Rule's downfall to the success of 50 killing his career. So it didn't matter how good of an artist Ja Rule was, he died.
Well, let's take that. Well, look the flip side of that, right? Could we attribute 50's success to Ja Rule then? Because would 50 still be 50 if he didn't have to knock off Ja Rule? And don't get me wrong, I like the idea just from a storytelling and life cycle, or not even life cycles out the word, but in that moment, right? It's like they had beef from before that turned into wax, right? And so it's like when you put it on wax and you put it on record, and 50 comes out the victor, right? But it feels like, do you think 50 would have been as big of an artist if he didn't go after Ja Rule? When Ja Rule was one of the hottest, he had to been at the time a top 5 artist when 50 went at him though, bro.
I do, because I don't think that most people attribute 50 Cent being as big as he is because of Ja Rule. Because I mean, let's keep it real. 50 knew when to bow out musically and transition, something that a lot of people can't do. So most people don't even attribute 50 Cent to being an artist. They just look at him as the executive. So yeah. So to me, I think that that's what makes him a bigger artist, or the celebrity, because of the fact that he maintained his career in a different capacity and was successful in many different genres, because he had the clothing line, he had the vitamin water, he had then he
expanded his business.
portfolio.
The business, I think that they get that. His business portfolio is greater. I'm talking about if you're just talking about the music, right?
If we just talking about the music, I think like if they did a versus, right? I think Ja could potentially win. It's definitely placement of records. But I'm saying when you think about placement, you think about the hits though, Ja would be right there with him, going punch for punch.
I think so. And you can say what you want to say about the hits, right? When you say, "Oh, he's just singing them," the hit, a hit is a hit is a hit. It don't matter how it became a hit. It's a hit, and I just can't. That's why I think that's what makes Drake's streak so impressive. Is that let's say set aside the streaming aspect of it, right? I think that Drake was able to successfully transition to the streaming era, but he still had the songs, the hits. And so I can't, while I'm not going to put Drake in my top 5, maybe not even in my personal top 10, I still can't ignore the fact that he got him. So if somebody does have him there, I can understand it. Maybe even, you're going to have to make me revisit my old list, because now I don't know where I have Drake in the on my all-time list now.
I didn't think you had him very high because he didn't write a lot of his records.
See, so that's the thing. I don't do there's a song that we knew about, right? So I think that's what I'm wondering. Is that how okay?
See, that's what I'm saying.
We don't know if he's not writing a bunch of songs. Like, this is my thing. I think this is what I look at. If Drake has wrote songs for Alicia Keys, he's wrote songs for Kanye West. It's not even about the pen. I'm not even questioning his pen, right? But it does say something that somebody else has wrote a record for you. And it could be, maybe it was a reference track, but it almost seemed line for line. So let's just say he got this ghostwriter he's had maybe 2 or 3 times where he's been accused of that, and they seem to be very credible, right? And so I'm looking at that, and I think that the fact that you even have the potential for that just still seems like that's why I can't quite put it in top 5 despite the accolades. 10, maybe. I got him wherever it is. I got him above Kanye West, regardless of where I have him at.
I mean, obviously, because I mean, we knew he was writing for Kanye, but I mean, what I'm saying is that doesn't affect my list like it does yours. So he's way higher on my list than he would be on yours, because that doesn't matter to me. Like,
not as high. No, he's not as low as you would think. right? He's not
I
as
know,
low.
but
I
the
would
fact
tell
that
you
it affects your criteria though to begin
it
with is what
does.
I'm saying. Because see, for me, right, I don't care if you had the best writers whatsoever. It's how do people respond to how you present it that matters to me. And he's been on top for so long. Like we look at him as the machine. You know what I'm saying? And
In my head, I'll tell you where I have. In my head, I have him somewhere. I have him somewhere in between. Um, I have him somewhere in between Eminem. This is my mama call. My mama wanted to jump on the podcast real quick here.
she went
Um,
she's trying to jump on the pod.
my mama trying to jump on the podcast. Hold on, because she already did. She saw that I was on the face. Oh Lord, I had to just hang up on her. I feel terrible doing that too. But listen, I have Drake somewhere. If I was putting together an all-time list, he's somewhere in between Eminem and Kanye West.
I don't
Right?
even see how you
Wherever I got them at,
I didn't even know Kanye West was on your list like that, bro.
and listen, I can't ignore the impact, right? We said that before. Go list the impact matter, and I can't ignore his impact. And even though his recent stuff that I just can't get with, that's cool. But I
No,
still
no,
do have. If I was putting together,
you can't ignore
right,
college
I was
dropout.
doing 20. I can't listen. College Dropout and Graduation are my two favorite, and Twisted Dark Fantasies are three of my best, are my favorite albums of any kind. So I can't ignore that. But I would say that even despite that, though, man, I can't have Drake. I can't have Kanye over Drake and when I'm talking about GOAT rappers, when Drake wrote for Kanye, but then also it's not a big thing that Kanye has writers. Like then at that point, you're like the best artist. If we were talking about GOAT artists, then yeah, that might matter, you know what I'm saying, less because all right, people, if you say, well, people can write for you, you just, yeah, that's cool. But it still does mean something to me though, bro, that you can say that I hear you say one of the dopest lines I've ever heard, and you thought of that, bro. That's a big deal to me though, man. Like when you thought of a dope melody or dope cadence, you thought about that. Like that's incredible to me. That to me what makes you more of the exception than the norm though, bro.
Okay. Well, speaking of Drake, we never did talk about it, bro. What did you think about Nokia?
I think it's trash, bro. I think it's horrible. I absolutely hate it, bro.
What is it about
And
it?
listen, you know what I think? I hate the baby girl do your dad. I hate how they sound. I hate the Canadian accent, bro. I listen. I'm not gonna listen. I think, and this is maybe we're gonna get into. Maybe we'll get a lot of backlash, especially on TikTok for this one. But the Canadian accent might be one of the worst accents. It's like number two behind a Baltimore accent, bro. And that part makes me not like the whole song. Like when I hear it, it's like nails on the chalkboard. Throw the whole song away. I hate it, bro. I hate it.
Yeah, we
But
definitely.
the song, I think the song is just trash to me, though. But that makes it worse. I just thought that it's cool. It was cool, and then I heard that, and that made it trash to me.
Oh yeah, we definitely ain't putting that on TikTok. You ain't getting me
And
canceled.
listen, here's the thing. Though. Here's the thing. I think that's crazy, though, right? The crazy part about it, though, is that so far, all of the other songs that I've heard from Drake, that are some of the ones that they play on mainstream radio. Because I'm still a Radiohead. I like them, right? I just don't like that particular song, though, bro. I absolutely hate. But when that part, I was like, okay, I could listen to it. When that part comes on, turn it off, though, bro. Turn it off.
Okay, so let me tell you what bothered me. What bothered me is because my boy Shay Gilgis Alexander was in the video, bro. Oh my
I
gosh.
didn't even see the video, but he's from Toronto or Canada. He's from Toronto.
I get it, but to me, it's like why you had to put a basketball player in the video because DeMar DeRozan dissed you, bro. Like, come on,
That
man.
is corny. That is
It's
very
just,
corny from that
yeah,
aspect, though,
that
bro.
to me was just like you mad because Russ was dancing on stage, like yeah, that's because it's like it's really like a shot at. It's a shot at both Russ and it's a shot at
LeBron.
Yeah, it's a shot at all. Well, but here's the thing: I will say, let me shoot Drake some bail. It is very consistent because when he came here to the concert, he did bring Shay out.
Well, let me tell you this. There was one photo shoot that I thought I saw Drake did. I don't know the context of it, but I saw he did a photo shoot where he was in Cade Cunningham's locker room in Detroit, right? And it was a dope picture. But again, it's like the NBA players, bro. Like, what is this thing with you tying? Like, I know that you might the NBA players that make a lot of money. So you're a rapper that make a lot of money. You're showing that you're in association with people that, but it's like this, not an obsession, but it's a thing, though, bro. It is definitely something that, like, I don't see him like that with hockey players. I don't see him like that maybe with football players.
Because it's just
I don't know, bro.
Hip hop and the NBA kind of go together, bro. That's a kind
I
of
think so too. And
And
would you agree with me that NBA players are more popular than NFL players?
I would say that. And here's the reason why. You want to know why?
I think I know why.
Okay, let me hear why you think that is, and then I'll tell you what I think it is.
I'm going to tell you the reason why. I think that the reason why NBA players are more popular than NFL players is because you can see their faces throughout the entire game. Absolutely. They don't wear helmets, so you see their face all the time. And so I think that if you're a handsome NBA player, though, right, and you also are a bucket getter, you know what I'm saying, then I can see that when you toss in the fashion and you toss in the elements of hip hop, I think that in the NBA, in an NFL player, you could still look at somebody and you have no idea what they look like if you saw them out in the street. But an NBA player, which is crazy to me, because shout out to my boy Ben, because he said, bro, I can only name maybe 5 guys from the NBA. I just don't watch NBA enough. I'm so casual that I don't know 10 players in the NBA. But I think that for me, outside of the outrageous height and stature of an NBA player, I think just on face alone, though, bro, yeah, you would be able to spot them out very easily because they don't wear helmets.
Yeah, easier to brand.
Very easy to brand.
The thing is, so Drake is super petty too about like, if you rocking with the ops, then I can't rock with you. 50 is like that, right? So tying that whole thing back around, I'm concerned that 50 is never going to do a Breakfast Club interview again, bro.
I think he will. I think that he does look at Breakfast Club like the Breakfast Club in Switzerland. It's neutral because they've done interviews with people who were the oppositions in the past, very much so. You think about it. I don't know that the Breakfast Club has ever did an interview. I think they did an interview with Beyonce before, and then they just did one with Keri Hilson, and they were supposedly at odds for years. So
true, but the thing, here's the difference. They've never done that against 50 Cent. 50 different, bro.
I think they will. I think they will.
Hold on. 50 shut down a whole show because of the ops. He shut down BMF because of Rick Ross, right? His whole
because that was his show, though.
It doesn't. That's what I'm saying, though. 50 controls his, because 50 would just be like, I'll just go to Big Boy. Like 50 is that petty when it comes to people and his ops. Like,
I don't disagree with that. But I just think that I do honestly believe, bro. I honestly believe that the Breakfast Club is very similar to Club Shay Shay and that it's neutral. I don't think that they necessarily take sides. They do play their part, to me, I think very well in terms of a hip hop platform, giving artists who even might necessarily be ops, there's still the platform to say whatever they want to say safely, right? And it's just like I don't think that, and maybe even to some level, yeah, it's controlled. So I think that, I don't think that he's done with Breakfast Club, but I see what you're saying, though.
We'll see. But you bring up
understand what you're saying.
You bring up Keri Hilson. Interesting things came out of that particular interview because she explained why the record came out and that she didn't write the record, that she was told that her career would be in jeopardy if she didn't do the record, which in turn, when the record came out, it did jack up her career. And what is it, Esther Dean was the
Yeah.
writer, and they came out and
Esther Dean, listen, Esther Dean is a dope writer, by the way.
well, she getting drugged right now.
She is getting drugged though, bro. But Esther Dean is pretty dope. And listen, I've heard Esther Dean. You've heard some Esther Dean songs, but I like she's out here. I think I've heard her like, if I'm not mistaken, man, she's been on like some radio song plugs. You know, like you transition into somebody's show. You got Lil Bankhead, so she's been on that though, man. She was on Gucci Mane, and yeah, Esther Dean is dope. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
but this is the thing. What I do respect about Keri Hilson is obviously she didn't name names. She just told her truth about the situation because, of course, the Breakfast Club asked where she had been, and looking at where her career was and how she got to where she was at, and her releasing new music and all of that. People did their research and went and found out who wrote the record. And at first, Esther Dean came out and kind of like, yeah, I did it. And then once she started getting drugged, then she came out on the apology tour. So
let me tell you what's crazy. Esther Dean from Muskogee, Oklahoma. That's what I've been to tell you though, man.
that's wild.
But yeah. But listen, Esther Dean got a song that she did. So when I heard her rapping is that you probably don't know, but it's a Gucci Mane song where Gucci Mane is like, I think I love her. And then she's like, Gucci, you don't love me. Gucci, you don't love me. A big song out here in Atlanta. She's on that. She wrote the Remember Me hook on Paper Trail. She wrote Google Me on Tiana Taylor. She actually co-wrote on Drake. I'm on Mary J. Blige song, the one that she had with Drake. She's wrote for Chris Brown. She's wrote for Mary J. She's wrote for Sierra. She's wrote on Flo Rida and Nelly Furtado. You said Keri Hilson. She wrote Rude Boy, Rihanna. She wrote the hook on Back to the Crib with Joel Santana with Chris Brown. She wrote Pussycat Doll. She wrote Trey Songz. I'm only saying that to say, like, for the people who don't necessarily know, like, Esther Dean is one of them ones when it comes to writing songs, hit songs. And so a lot of the ones that you would hear, it's almost like you wouldn't know that she wrote it. But yeah, she liked that though, bro. She liked that.
She sounds like the female version of Turn the Lights Off. Rico Love.
Yes, that is a good, that is a good one. Because like I said, she co-wrote on Firework, Katy Perry, right? I'm trying to think of some big records that you can think of. That was one though, man. But I think that the one thing that's pretty cool though, man, is that, like I said, her range of artists that she's worked with is everyone. She did some stuff for Usher though, bro. She's done some, like I said, Beyonce, and that was where I think that was a big deal for Keri Hilson, is that, y'all put me on out there, and then fast forward, y'all end up working with Beyonce. Polo the Don, Esther Dean, and Timbo actually ended up doing some work with them and went on tour with them separately though, man. So I can totally get why, she would feel some kind of way on it though, bro.
Right.
But Esther Dean is no slouch though, bro. She's a big dog when it comes to that pen though, bro.
Okay, speaking of pens, I'm giving you 3 writers, and you tell me out of these 3, put them in order for me. Sean Garrett, the pen.
Sean Garrett's number 1. I didn't even got to hear the other one.
Rico Love.
Sean Garrett.
And The Dream.
Ooh. Okay, listen. Okay. Damn. I think, bro, listen. Let me say this. Okay, so when I first got Instagram, right? First got on Instagram, one of the first 10 people that I followed on Instagram was Sean Garrett. The first people I wanted to follow on Instagram, I don't know why, but I still remember this, was Sean Garrett, and it was Jonte Austin, Brian Michael Cox. Those were like the three of the first 10 people. Like I didn't care what anybody else had going on, right? I only them three people were the first one. But bro, the dream got some range. And I'm gonna go the dream. I'm gonna go to Dream, Sean Garrett, and then Rico Love. And I love Rico Love, but I'm just gonna go based off of the songs that I know that the Dream has written.
Yeah.
But Sean Garrett got a lot of hits, though. A lot of hits. Like he got a lot of number ones, though, bro.
You know the last one that he wrote that is like one of my absolute favorite. Like I love watching the behind the scenes of them creating it. Is Glue by Usher.
Oh yeah. You know the song that I like that I thought was gonna be a bigger song by Sean Garrett that wasn't. Papa got home, about to give you that raw. Favorite position is from the back door. Girl, you know the drill. Don't ask no question. Why? You already know. That's one of my favorite. And I thought when I heard that, I was like, oh, 112 is back. 112 is back. This is like, I'd be like, 04 maybe. 03. And I was like, oh, because it was like after they left Bad Boy, I was like, oh, yeah, they straight. And man, it did well here in Atlanta. I just don't know that they had that kind of reach outside of it, though, bro. One of my favorite songs, though. But Sean Garrett has not just, like I said, not just great songs. He has a lot of number one records, though.
Yo,
a lot of number one.
I would be blessed to have a song written by either one of them, bro.
Yeah, like I love the Dreams. Man, Dream got some too, though, bro. But like I said, I think that Sean Garrett has Sean Garrett has like 30 number one songs, like 30 something number one songs, right? Not just top 10. They're like 30 something number one song. And I think that the Dream probably has a high number. Listen, you got me thinking, bro. I might have to say.
That's what I'm saying. We're gonna have
Rico does too.
We're gonna have to.
I'm gonna change that. I'm gonna change that around, bro. I'm gonna change that around. I ain't gonna back up off of my original. I'm gonna go Sean Garrett, bro. I'm gonna go Sean Garrett number one. Out of just them three, Sean Garrett, Dream, and then Rico. And that's it. That's the order that I would say if I was creating an R&B album and I was an artist. I would say, boom. I think I could get a number one single out of Sean Garrett. I think I would be able to get some great songs as well from the Dream. And I think I would be able to get some great songs as well, club songs from Rico. But I think I just the Sean Garrett's history tells me tried and true that he got hits, bro. And I gotta ride with that, bro.
Okay. I started watching, I'm a big fan of Tank and Jay Valentine. Of course, they got the R&B Money podcast. And their last interview they did was with Jermaine Dupri. It's a 3-hour interview. So I am like listening to it in spurts. But they were talking about, Crisscross, and they was talking about Another Bad Creation. And I guess Jermaine Dupri has something to do with Another Bad Creation as well. And so he said the reason why he wrote the diss, don't try to compare us to Another Bad Little Fad, was trying to separate them because, and he was like, listen, me and Jonte Austin are like boys, like that's my dog. Like, but I had to separate Crisscross because ABC was an R&B group, whereas Crisscross, I was trying to make them rappers. And so I had to establish that. So that was the way that I had to do that. So I love, I didn't know that Left Eye had lived in his closet for a stretch. TLC was originally his group and he gave them up. It's such a fascinating interview, man, because Jermaine Dupri just has history. Like when he found Crisscross, he was only 17, bro. And listening to his hustle on how he got equipment, and we ain't even gotten to the Bow Wow stuff, the Brat stuff. They just started talking about Escape where I'm at in the interview. So yeah. Definitely,
I
definitely.
think that in the grand scheme of black music, in the grand scheme of it, I think Jermaine Dupri might be one of the top five most underappreciated facets of it, because there are people who are behind the scene guys, right? There are guys who have been behind the scenes, but Jermaine Dupri has been in front of the camera since he was like 8, right? And so I think that for him to have evolved and been in front of people, not where some people just are so far behind where they might be a mover and shaker behind the scene, though, bro. And so I think that Jermaine Dupri, when you really, really put that in context, the fact that, like you said, that he got down with Criss Cross at 17. He was probably like barely in his early 20s when he had Escape, and all of the stuff that's about him. He's always been a very public figure and at a young age. And so to navigate through all of the ups and downs and the new eras and the new ways, I think that if anything, even now that he's been working very heavily on, I think it's Money Long's recent album, but maybe it's Victoria Monet. I get them two mixed up, their project mixed up. But I think that he had a stretch though here recently over the last 10 years where I don't think that he's been as like with the records, right? But I think that people of this generation, and rightfully so, but I think that people of this generation just don't quite know the last time Jermaine Dupri was hot was, y'all know what this is? That Jermaine Dupri. And that's what that was like early 2000s though, right? But this last 10 years, not so much. And so it's interesting, bro. Very underrated though. I think though, a top 5 underrated hip hop or black music personality, given that he's been in front of the camera since he was like 8, bro.
Well, let me ask you this: impact alone, impact alone, impact alone. Who had a better executive career out of Diddy and JD?
Diddy.
Really?
Diddy. Yeah, I think Diddy. And here's the thing
Is it
about it,
because of the
because we're
longevity
talking,
of it?
I think that it's the longevity one, but you talk about just as an executive, not a songwriter. That would be different because to
Yeah.
Jermaine Dupri's point, he said that, hey, there are rooms that I can sit in that Diddy won't get the invite for. And that's just his songwriting credentials, right? But I think that when it comes to the executive, I think that Bad Boy, to me, had a more lasting and longer impact than I think that So Def had overall hip hop though. But and that's shit. And we're talking
Boy,
about
Wi-Fi taking it.
we good over here though, bro. We undefeated over here. We took one loss.
All right.
But no, I think that no, I'm gonna say Diddy, bro. I'm gonna say Diddy.
Okay.
But I think that if you're talking about executives, I think that there are only a handful of executives who can go song for song with Diddy, right? And you talk about this. So you talk about executives who can go song. So you talk about Babyface, L.A. Reid. It's on an executive level who can go song for song.
See,
And I think that even if you want to go songwriting, I think that even those two are probably some of the two. Those two and Missy maybe are the only ones that could go song for song with Jermaine Dupri.
but see, that's the thing. That's why I wish that Diddy and JD could have had the verses before all of this debauchery, because I
Mm-hmm.
feel like people aren't giving JD the respect that he deserves as far as the type of like who he had influence over. You know what I'm saying? Because we know like the crisscrosses and stuff like, but JD had a hand in a lot of people that just don't, we like I said, I don't think he gets the credit for, and I wish he would have got the chance to showcase it from that capacity.
Yeah. No doubt, no doubt. Like I said, I think that Jermaine Dupri. I hope that maybe these people, these new generation people, are looking at him like old man Jermaine Dupri with some of the stuff that he kind of said that he puts out there now. like they kind of look at him like he's a dinosaur, but still though, bro, I think that I still love that he still has just about all of this original crew with him though, man. All them Ocean's 12 dudes are still with him though, man. So yeah. Real fire though, bro.
Okay. We got two things that we got to get into because the two big events about to pop off. Obviously, the NBA is ending the regular season, so we're entering into the playoff scenario, and we have the first round of games tonight for the play-in tournament. So, who you got?
You know, it's funny though, bro. I don't even know who's playing.
Okay.
I know that
I don't know the East stuff. I know the West stuff.
I know that the Hawks are playing, and I think the Hawks are playing like.
Are they playing the Knicks or something?
I listen. I'm gonna tell you this. All I know is that I can count on Trae Young for this kind of scenario. Mm-hmm. So wherever the Hawks is at, I think that I'm gonna pick the Hawks. So, and I'm not doing it as a homer. I'm just there. I like Trae Young in these scenarios.
I mean, I see the shirt.
You see me there, bro? Yeah. I'm gonna go Trae Young on that one though, bro.
Okay. No, for the West, it's Dallas and hold on, don't give me Dallas and I know it's Golden State and Memphis, and then it's Dallas and who is the Kings. Dallas and the Kings, they are the 9 and 10, and then it's Golden State and Memphis. So the winner of Golden State and Memphis go on to be number 7, and then the loser of that will play the winner of Dallas and the Kings. So who you got coming out the West at 7 and 8?
7 and 8. I want to go. No, the Warriors.
I'm just saying who you got coming out. Period. Like you don't have to do the matchups, but I'm just saying because like I said, the loser of the Memphis and Golden State game plays the winner of Dallas, and so who is when it's all said and done, who's playing Houston and who's playing OKC? OKC gets the number 8 team. So who are they playing?
So I don't know the path. I think that the final 4 for the West, and like I said, this is me not knowing the path. I think it would be OKC, the Lakers.
I got you. So who you got winning out of Golden State and Memphis?
Golden State.
Okay, so that's number 7. So that means they play Houston. Okay, so then you got,
I think they can beat Houston.
That's what most people think. Okay, so then you got Dallas playing the Kings. Who got winning out of that?
Dallas.
Okay, so then Dallas plays Memphis. Who do you have out of that?
Memphis would lose to the Warriors and still go on to play against Dallas?
Yes, because right now Memphis is in that 7 and 8 position. So they get that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound crazy. While I think that Memphis will lose to the Warriors, I think Memphis would beat Dallas.
Okay, so that means Memphis would play OKC.
Yes. I think that then OKC would beat Memphis. I think that where does the Lakers fall into it?
Lakers are number 3. So they play I think they play the dang it. You would have me because they're already set on who they're playing. Let me see. NBA.
I thought they would play like number 6 or something like that.
They would, but what I'm saying is their bracket is already set though. So like they already know who they're playing.
If they gotta play against the Clippers, bro, then I'm inclined to believe that the Clippers they'll beat the Clippers.
They play the Timberwolves, bro.
Okay, well, damn. Okay, well, wait a minute. Okay. Wait a minute, man.
Yeah, so here's the matchup.
I think the Lakers would beat the Timberwolves, unfortunately.
Okay,
not unfortunately, but I want to see Ant-Man go off. But I think that they'll.
Denver is playing the Clippers.
Okay. And Kawhi's been playing.
Yeah, he's been hooping too.
Yeah, okay.
They beat Golden State. They beat Golden State in overtime in order to send Golden State to the play-in.
All right, so I think in that case, though, I think that the Clippers would beat the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are collapsing.
Okay. All right. So now in the play-in for the East, you got the Hawks versus the Magic. and then you got the
The Hawks.
Bulls and the Heat.
The Hawks and I'm tired of Miami. God damn. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go the Bulls, man. I
Okay,
think the Bulls gonna end their streak. They losing streak in the playoff. They gonna get there this year.
okay. So then the Bulls would play the Magic after that.
I think the Magic. I like the Magic. They're young upstart.
Okay.
I like them.
So then right now we have the Pacers playing the Bucks.
Hey, listen, man. Did you know that the Giannis hasn't won a playoff game in like 3 years?
Yeah.
Like he hasn't won one in 3 years. I think that the Bucks. I think they would win.
Even without
I
Dame?
don't know how. I don't know how. I think they can at least get by the first round of the playoffs, even though they haven't. But that's the
without
series
Dame,
where.
though?
No, I take that back. I don't even know who the hell else is on the Bucks besides Giannis and Bobby Portis and
Yeah,
Brooks.
but Dame is out though. Dame
He's
got the
still
blood clot.
he's still with Giannis. Yeah, I'm gonna say the Bucks is out of there, bro.
Okay.
And it's gonna make an interesting offseason.
Now, Detroit and New York.
I think New York, and I hate the Knicks, but I'm just saying.
Bro, I think Detroit gonna watch them, bro.
I don't think they're gonna watch them at all, bro. I think that this is my thing. The reason why I say that, bro, I told you I told you this when we first got on the first year of the podcast, though, bro. You can't be a young team led by a young team, young players, and then have me pick you. So for me, you got to earn your lumps. And I think that the Pistons, while they got Cade Cunningham as their main guy, and they got Jaden Ivey as their main, they got some guys. They still are young, and I'm gonna pick the older team almost every time.
Okay. Now the other, so that's the NBA out the way, right? And once we get into the actual playoffs, we can start determining who we think gonna win everything. So the other big weekend, what's up?
I got a question for you.
Okay.
This is something that we don't got to say. We didn't get a chance to get into. Because someone who you didn't mention anywhere in this playoff scenario are the Phoenix Suns.
I did not mention them at all.
Okay, so this is the thing. We talked about on the last podcast, right? On the last episode, we were talking about Mike Malone getting fired 2 years after winning the championship. Mm-hmm. We mentioned Bud Budenholzer from the Bucks getting fired a couple of years after winning the championship. He goes for 1 year, and after 1 year, they fired him on out there at Phoenix. But that's not even the question for you that I have for you. Here's where I'm going. Okay. You know me, and I love my list. Oh, God. Right? I love to list everything. So my question for you is that does this impact Kevin Durant's legacy?
No, that's easy. No. It don't impact KD's, to me, right? So it doesn't impact his legacy because for me, Phoenix was never healthy. And if we're going to give LeBron the pass that say, LeBron has help, and so he's won championships with his teammates, then I gotta run the same fade with KD. And so to me, Phoenix was never healthy. Brooklyn was never healthy. They were never the team that they were supposed to be. When KD went to Brooklyn, it was supposed to be him, James Harden, and Kyrie. Kyrie had the whole issue with the anti-Semitic stuff. He had the shot stuff, and he wasn't present. So then James Harden checked out and he left. So that was like, all right, experiment blown up, right? He goes to Phoenix. Phoenix was never healthy. They get rid of Chris Paul. They bring in the boy Bradley Beal, who was broke, and then he was never healthy. To me, the Suns experiment to me is more of an indictment on Booker than I would say KD. Yeah, Booker to me is now like how you be talking about your number ones and who should go join a team. Nah, Booker's a number 2, bro. He ain't.
He's a number 2 guy.
He's not. The guy.
I agree with you, bro. That Booker is a complimentary player. And this is what I'll tell you this. Booker is the equivalent of Paul George, right? Because he's the guy who we originally started to have this conversation around. And even James Harden to a different degree when you concede. But I think that the one thing with Booker is that Booker hasn't conceded that yet, right? They came to him. So that still put him into play. But I think that what's making it different, bro, is I don't think that they recognize yet that Booker isn't a number one. He might think he is, but I think that he's not. I agree with you. I think Booker is an all-star level of Jamal Murray during the regular season. I think that he is like Jamal Murray is always almost close to getting to the all-star game every time. And he never quite get there, right? But in the playoffs, he usually out of this world, bro. But I think that during the regular season, Booker is what Jamal Murray should be or is trying to be. But I agree with you, bro. I think that Booker is not a number one guy. I think he is the second best guy on a team, though, bro.
Okay, but hear me out. Now, us talking about this, I still don't change my answer. I don't think that it affects KD's legacy, but I think all these years we thought KD was a number one, and KD's not a number one.
I think KD might listen. That is a good point. I didn't think about that.
I didn't think about it either. Because
KD might just be the best number two guy of all time, bro.
Exactly.
Better than Scottie Pippen.
Right, because even in OKC, the reason why most people think he left OKC is because he did not want to concede to Russell Westbrook. And Russell Westbrook was the number one guy.
And not just that, though. The franchise, like Russ, was the number one guy.
Yes.
So maybe, but then here's the thing. Here's where I go. Now that we're talking about that, right? Kevin Durant then went to Golden State. Okay, when he went to Golden State, was he better than Steph at the time, or was he an equal to Steph at the time?
Okay, at the time of play, he was better than Steph, but it comes with caveats, right?
Okay.
Because the reason why we say at this time, because Steph has won a championship before KD and after KD. KD ain't won a championship since he left Golden State. But clearly,
KD hasn't won a playoff series since he left Golden State. So this is my thing, though, bro. When you say, and I don't mean to cut you off.
No, you good.
But when we say, does this impact Kevin Durant's legacy? It does. Because to me, what it's basically showing even more is that you and I, we talk all the time. And never have we had the epiphany until now that maybe KD is a number two guy, right? Until right now, we've never said that. But here's my thing about it, though, right? To your point, Steph won one before, and don't get me wrong, Steph would not have won them rings without KD because I think that LeBron James was just on that level. He was out of here, though, right? And I think that Steph solidified his greatness when he won the ring without KD. But I think that, to me, KD them has been fun. And you can say, I can get all of the reasons, and you say injuries, whatever. All I know is that at the end of the day, history is going to show that Kevin Durant has not only not won a championship, but he hasn't won a series since he left Golden State. And so the fact that Kevin Durant said he don't want to be the leader of a team, right? And I don't know why we didn't think about this back then.
Right.
Because he been said he don't want to be the leader.
Yeah.
So I don't know why we never had the epiphany that, well, if you don't want to be the leader of the team, that means you're not the number one guy.
No. People have been trying to make him be the number one guy.
Oh my God.
Paul George basically did exactly what KD should have did. Was like, he did say that, but nobody wanted to believe him. He said, I want to be Robin. I don't want to be Batman. And we just
so good that we just now are having the epiphany because we're talking about Devin Booker is the number two guy. And
Yeah.
you brought a number 2 guy to play with a number 2 guy, and that's the reason why it didn't. Because
You
even
put
if
3
that's the
number
case,
2
though, right?
guys together.
You put 3 number 2. You put 3 number 2 guys. Yes. Listen, Brad Bill is also a number 2 guy. Listen, bro. Listen. Brad Bill can score with the best of them. But Brad Bill is going to put up a bunch of numbers that don't matter when he's the number 1 guy. Because at the end of the day, if he's your best player, we know what that looks like. So when you brought him to Phoenix, you basically brought him to be your number 3 guy, but not even the 2 guy. And so now I'm sitting here looking at that.
Listen,
And yes, you got 3 number 2 guys.
Even the commentators were saying when KD was scoring at Phoenix and they weren't getting anywhere, they were like, his numbers aren't meaning anything. He's putting up KD numbers, but they ain't doing nothing because he's a number
like
2.
LeBron. That's like LeBron can roll out of bed and he'll give you 26 and 8 assists, right? It's just, yeah, he can give you the same numbers, but I think that the impact of the numbers can be a little different sometimes, depending, because I think that right now, I think that LeBron is trying to concede more to Luka than I think he did to AD. At least I think at this juncture. And so, but when I'm looking at that though, bro, I think that people were looking for KD to be the number 1. And I thought that I think that the reason why it's solidifying that even that much more is because it's like, all right, here's the thing, hypothetically, right? I think that the Warriors would have lost if they didn't have KD.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, right? Maybe they would have won because when Draymond Green, before he got ejected, they were on pace to go ahead and beat him. So it's a possibility, right? But one thing I know for sure is that KD wasn't going to win no ring if he didn't go to the Warriors, right? Because the Warriors were so good in the West at that time. LeBron had the East on lock.
Yeah, but this is the thing that goes. You just brought a shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't know, man. I think if Thunder would have ran it back with KD,
I agree with you on that note. But what I'm saying is that when he decided that season, it ain't gonna work out with me and Russ, not how I want. Okay, so now you're picking teams. I don't think, like, there was a point where he was talking about going to Miami, right? I think even if he went to Miami, I don't think you're getting past LeBron and Kyrie and all them boys like that. But even then, though, right? When you left, right? I don't see the path to a ring on the East and West, not with those 2 teams playing the way that they were. So it's like I feel very comfortable in saying if you're not going to run it back with OKC, who you had up 3-1 against them, and if you didn't win then, what other scenario or players are you going to be able to play with where you going to be able to do it though, bro? So I don't know.
I'm just saying if he would have stayed with OKC, I think they could have ran against Golden State, but we never got to see that. But and like you said, it's proven that Golden State won with and without KD.
Yes.
So
it's his legacy because it further shows that if you are one of those people that had the position or you ran off on over to Golden State to get them rings, well, what have you done since you left? Injuries all aside, all I know is that now he didn't make the playoff. He got put out in the first round a couple of times. Yeah, he was hurt. I get that. But I'm just saying that, bro, your fall from basketball grace, you were like, and so I think to your point, people look at the 30 points on 12 shots, 15 shots, and his efficiency. He's so good that I never thought, damn, is KD a number 2 player, bro? And I think that now it makes sense to me why I can see Russ not wanting to concede to him either, though, bro.
Yeah.
Russ said, give me the ball in clutch.
Yeah. Russ said, I am the guy. I'm going to be that. Russ won the MVP when KD left. Russ had a consecutive 4 years of averaging triple doubles when KD left. So
Ace Kennedy. That just blew my mind. And now that makes me want to redo my GOAT list.
yeah, because at one
It's
time
moving.
we had KD as a rival to LeBron, and now to me, LeBron's greatest rival is Steph Curry. That's the new Magic and Bird right there.
I can agree with you because yes, I think that we never got to see the MVP level KD, this level KD battle LeBron because he's been not doing nothing since he left Golden State. Like to me, when you are brought some now, like don't get me wrong, I do think that he was the best player. I just don't think that he was, even though the best player, I don't think he was the number one player.
No.
Right. And I think that that's the reason why when he was like, when people like they feel like he would get the love that Steph did because he wasn't homegrown for one. But I think that the team was still built around Steph, though, bro.
It was Steph's team.
Yeah, it was Steph team, and you got icing on the cake and all this extra icing with KD, though, bro.
And that's probably why he didn't want to go back.
Man. And listen, it makes sense as well that when he wanted to team up with Kyrie, because then he would go over there and be the number 2 guy with Kyrie being the number 1. It's why he followed along instead of him leading it on then. Man, listen, bro. Listen. That is mind-blowing, bro. And that to me is so thought-provoking that it's game-changing on how I view Kevin Durant.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to post that on my Facebook page for the basketball head, though, bro.
Yeah, we clipping this one out, bro. We clipping that out.
Yes. Golly.
Man. Well, look, bro. WrestleMania is this weekend. We was gonna get into to who we thought was gonna win what, but we'll talk about WrestleMania next week. We appreciate y'all for joining us, man. Hey, we are the Slash Brothers again. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, we everywhere. And
Instagram.
That's right, Instagram. So we'll see y'all on the next one, bro. We love y'all. We out.
Peace.
KD at number 2.
KD is a number 2 player.
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
Can you dig it, sucker?
Y'all rat guns.